Hello, and welcome to Hope, Despair, and Memory, Lesson 6 Hope, Despair, and Memory Syntactical Analysis. We have spent time reading, annotating, and analyzing Hope, Despair, and Memory by Eli Wiesel in previous lessons. Today, we will dissect a sentence, we will write sentences modeled on Wiesel's sentence structure, and we will analyze how Wiesel's language, tone, imagery, and evidence develop a central idea and advance his point of view. For today's lesson, you will need your annotated copy of Hope, Despair, and Memory by Eli Wiesel, your reading response journal posted in today's lesson, and the sentence activity Google Slides also posted in today's lesson. Stripped of all possessions, all human ties severed, the prisoners found themselves in a social and cultural void. I want you to watch as I model the process of analyzing the syntax of a sentence from paragraph 7. And then watch as I rewrite the sentence in my own words. You're going to begin with the sentence that you choose being merely the words of the sentence with no capitalization or punctuation. Now, if you remember from the previous slide, my sentence is stripped of possessions, all human ties severed, the prisoners found themselves in a social and cultural void. What is the subject of that sentence? Who or what is doing something? Prisoners, yes. What are they doing? Or what have they done? They've found. We're also going to look for the phrases and clauses in the sentence. So we have two phrases in this sentence and one clause. Who can tell me one of the phrases? Can anyone see another type of phrase? What about a clause? Now remember, a clause has a subject and a verb, but most in this case cannot stand on their own as sentences unless they're an independent clause. But we've already found the subject and the verb of the independent clause. So let's look at the pieces of our sentence put together. Stripped of possessions is one of our phrases, and in a social and cultural void is one of our phrases, and all human ties severed is the clause. So now I'm going to rewrite the sentence. And where I chose to rewrite the sentence is down at the very bottom of this, where my notes are. And the sentence I came up with was prisoners found themselves stripped of all possessions in a social cultural void with all human ties severed. Now it's your turn. You're going to look through the sentence choices. You're going to choose a sentence. You're going to double click on each of the word parts and replace the word parts with the word part that it is, just as I did with prisoners and found. I made subject into prisoners and the verb into found. And then finding the phrases and sometimes conjunctions and sometimes clauses. Now your sentence choices are, but the present was only a blink of the Lord's eye. The Almighty himself was a slaughterer. It was he who decided who would die, who would be tortured, and who would be rewarded. Night after night, seemingly endless processions vanished into flames lighting up the sky. Indeed, this was another universe. The very laws of nature had been transformed. Children looked like old men whimpered like children. So you're going to go through that process to complete the activity. I'm going to give you 15 minutes to complete the activity, and then we're going to look at your sentences, both the original sentence and your rewritten sentence. In fact, we're going to be doing a marking of those sentences very shortly in 15 minutes. How does Wiesel's use of phrases, conjunction, and punctuation produce sentence variety and fluency in the paragraph? What is the effect of Wiesel's sentence variety and fluency? We're going to address this question in Nearpod.